Today is the commutative and associative properties. The commutative property of addition is this. A plus B is the same thing as B plus A. So in other words, whenever you have an addition problem, such as 3 plus 5, you can write it as 5 plus 3. You can reverse the order of the numbers. The associative property of addition is when you have something like A plus the quantity of B plus C, close the quantity. You can add those in a different order. You don't have to add B plus C first. You can add A plus B first and then add C. So in the first part here you're adding these two, but since everything is addition throughout the problem, there's nothing wrong with adding the first two first. No different than doing this. 3 plus 7 plus 2. Notice that the answer to that is 12, because if you do 7 plus 2, that's 9. Add 3 to it, you get 12. But what if you added them in a different order? 3 plus 7, and then add 2. 3 and 7 is 10. Add 2, and you still come up with 12. The commutative property of multiplication. That says if you have A times B, it's the same thing as B times A. So if I had 5 times 4, that's 20. I get the same answer if I do 4 times 5. You just reverse the order. The associative property of multiplication is A times the quantity B times C is the same thing as the quantity of A times B, close the quantity, times C. So if I had 2 times 3 times 5, if I did 3 times 5 first, that's 15, and then multiply by 2 to get 30, I'll get the same answer if I do the quantity of 2 times 3, close the quantity, and then times 5. 2 times 3 is 6, times 5 is 30. So it works both ways. For this problem, you have parentheses in there, and there is addition. That doesn't automatically mean it's the associative property of addition, but in this case, it does. So the answer should be B. For the practice problem here, if you multiply these two in the quantity first and then by 4, since everything is multiplied throughout the problem, you can multiply these two first and then multiply by that. That is the associative property of multiplication. In this problem, you have 9 times 8 and 7 times 2 on one side. That's the same thing as 72 plus 14. And on this side, you would have 14 plus 72. So when you simplify that, it turns out to be the commutative property of addition, A. 8 divided by 4, 9 divided by 3. You could rewrite this as simply 2 times 3, because that's the result from here and there. But on this side, it's reversed, 3 times 2. So that would be the commutative property of multiplication. Substitute in the numbers for the variables. So A is 2, so that would be 2 squared, plus B, which is 3, minus C, that's 4, and then minus 3 times 2. So you have to go to the parentheses first. You have two sets, so pick one, and I'll choose the first one. 3 minus 4 is a negative 1. And then over here we have minus 3 times 2, that would be minus 6. Now 2 squared is 4, and then plus a negative 1 minus 6. 4 plus a negative 1. That's the same thing as having 4 plus signs and 1 negative sign. When you're adding, you just match up what you can. But when there's nothing left to match up, you just count what you have. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3. And then minus 6. 3 minus 6. You can make that into, and I'll write it again, 3 minus 6. You can make that into an addition problem. That's the same as 3 plus a negative 6. And you can do the signs, 3 positives and 6 negatives. I have 3 positives and 3 negatives, and I can't match up anything else. I'm left with a negative 3 for the answer. Substitute in 2 for x, and then 5 for y, 6 for z, and then evaluate. Parentheses first. Well, this is a set of parentheses, so we can do 2 times 2 to get 4. And inside this set, 6 minus 2 is 4. And we still have parentheses here, so we need to do 5 times 4 to get 20. And now 4 plus 20 is 24, and plus 5 is going to be 29. Substitute in the numbers for the letters. You should have 8 over 4 plus 12 over 4 minus 8 times 4 plus 12. Now simplify it. 8 over 4 is 2. 12 over 4 is 3. 8 times 4 is 32, and then plus 12. 2 plus 3 is 5, and we're going to have to take away 32 from the 5. 5 minus 32 is a negative 27, and if you add 12 to that, it is a negative 15.